and we'll see because we're live right now.
Yeah, it might. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we're live. Hey,
Okay.
everybody. I want to welcome everybody back to Healing Haven Conversations. I'm Dr. Alicia, and I am a therapist, and I am a social worker, and I'm also a professor. And I want to talk about these intersections today of healing, history, humanity, and politics. And I got my favorite the person to talk about this topic. And tonight's episode is called White Supremacy. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the government shutdown, and we're going to talk about the Black America's reality check. But, we have to talk about healing, ways in which we can heal as a community. So we're in a moment where systems depend on government, depends on healthcare, education, all of these sort of policies. And they're showing us just how fragile some of us really are. I think the recent government shutdowns has left many, many families uncertain, left us anxious and questioning who's truly protected when politics turn into what these power plays are presenting us. But beyond the headlines lies a deeper truth we're going to talk about today. The shutdowns, the policy contradictions, they don't affect everybody equally. And so for Black families and marginalized communities, because as a social worker, that's who I'm interested in, this impact hits us harder, reveals generations of inequality. I think that goes far beyond just this current administration. And I have invited back Dr. Buster. Y'all give Dr. Buster a big round of applause. He is a social worker, a historian. He's a policy professor. Hello. And he's here to help us kind of unpack what's really happening beneath the surface. And I mean, together today, we're going to explore how these political patterns mirror some of these old wounds that us as Black people have been carrying around, and what it takes for Black America to move from surviving these cycles to actually healing it. So, Dr. Buster, I want to start by grounding this conversation in what people are really feeling now. What people are really feeling now. Tell us, how have you been doing? What you've been up to? And what are people feeling in this context?
Thank you, Dr. Alicia. What have I been doing? Well, riling people, um, making making noise like a cymbal, um, and speaking truth to power. I have on my Facebook account, I have some trolls from, maybe I don't know where they came from, and some of them were like making threats like, you don't want to get to the south. And I said, no, I don't want to come to the south. There's nothing going on there. Mostly it's incest and guns and Bibles and hangings. I'm not coming. I'm comfortable here in the north. So, but the issue is that I am an American. This is my country. My job is to continue to be the drum beat of sensibilities, the drum beat of getting things to at least acquire a semblance of normalcy, uh, because we are in a very weird, very, very weird times. Um, the Supreme Court has given carte blanche, um, all the rights subsumed under the executive body, to Donald Trump. And he doesn't know what to do with it except run everybody roughshod. So the only way that we can return to a semblance of normalcy is to speak to those issues and resist. I was told since I was a kid in Nigeria that you can do many things and get away. You can't do that in the United States and get away because they'll give you all the leash you need. But eventually that leash is going to hang you. So I'm banking on that, and that's the reason why we will never stop. And if I stop, what will happen to my children and grandchildren?
Yes.
Because right now we are litigating the battles that our parents had already won. Your dad was a social work professor in
Yes.
Tuskegee,
Mm-hmm.
and these are the battles he fought and laid the foundations for us. He didn't lay them for us to stop. He laid them for us. And we thought we had done the match and everything was okay. And then suddenly they tell us that our rights are woke
Mm.
and worthy of denial. So that's why I'm here.
Oh my gosh, you talk about resistance and speaking to those issues.
Yeah.
And that is something that I have definitely doing. And if you follow me, everybody, you follow me on Instagram, that's where I tend to put a lot of my a lot of my thoughts politically. So go to at Coaching with Dr. Alicia on Instagram. I do put my thoughts on there. And it doesn't all I don't always agree with everybody, and that's
No,
okay, but that's where I put my thoughts. And I'm starting, I really like this thing about speaking to these issues. Every time I think about what's happening, I just have this urge to just pop a video up about what's going on with me right now. I have a ton of information about speaking to these issues
yeah.
and listening to other people speak to the issues, hitting the like button, sending it on to friends, putting it on my social media, because I really do feel like we can't just back down and applaud some of the things that we're saying because it doesn't affect people that look exactly like us.
Mhm.
Because they're coming after some of these other people. Don't think that they're not going to be coming after
No.
us as well.
Yeah. Yeah. During the Nazi Germany, there was a reverend gentleman called Martin Niemöller. Initially, he supported what Hitler was doing.
Yeah.
And then eventually he found out that this was not appropriate. And that was why, he spoke. He spoke and he said, they came for the socialists because I wasn't a socialist. I didn't say anything. They came for the Jews. I didn't say they came. When they came for me, there was nobody to speak for me because everybody had been taken.
That's
So,
right.
so speaking if you don't speak to the issue, somebody is going to for them for you, and their narrative, it will be a single story, not the story. Look at what's going on now. You mentioned the shutdown. The government shutdown. Um, this wouldn't be the first time, but Donald Trump's first rodeo, the government shut down for 35 days, longer than any time in history of the United States. Of the four, of the 349 years the United States has been in existence, it's under this man that the government shut down because he doesn't know how the government works.
Yeah.
So it shut down, and then it shut down again today. And then, of course, what is happening is that the Republicans are attempting to speak for everybody. They tell us that it's the undocumented immigrants for whom the Democrats are fighting for health care. But the truth is that immigrants are busy growing your food and
Mm-hmm.
busy running away from you, that they don't go to the hospital. And by the way, the act that protects anybody from being denied access to health care when they arrive at the ER was signed by Ronald Reagan. Because Ronald Reagan at that time was wearing some brains, and he said to himself, I remember that Ronald Reagan also signed the largest amnesty for undocumented immigrants in history in 1986. So the rule is that you come to the ER and you're bleeding out. Nobody should leave you to bleed out.
Exactly.
That you should be treated as a human being. But currently, under the law, no undocumented immigrants has access to Medicare, to Medicaid. Medicaid, it's Obamacare. No access to WIC, no access to food stamps, no access to anything. Yet they pay into it.
That's right. That is the key thing. I don't think people understand when people are looking at what these so-called immigrants are taking from somebody. What we don't understand is that, number one, there are employers that are employing the migrant workers. They are hiring them. That's why they're migrant workers. So maybe we have an issue with an employer issue. Maybe those are the people we need to start cracking down on instead of the people who are the migrant workers. Number one. Number two, what people don't understand is that even people who come here as migrant workers, they pay taxes that they will never, ever be able to draw down.
No, 96 billion worth last year. 96 billion.
96, y'all listen to this, 96 billion with a B each year that the government gets from migrant workers, that migrant workers will never, ever be able to see it.
No, they will never access Social Security. They are contributing
and
to
I'm
it.
so tired of ignorant. Let me tell you, I'm going to call it out. I'm using my voice today. It is ignorant to sit here and say that migrant workers are taking from Americans.
No,
that is not what's happening.
Dr. Alicia, it's not about ignorance as much as it is about disingenuousness.
Yes.
Yeah, because you know what the MAGA or whatever you call them do is they lie until you believe them. And they lie with a straight face. The problem we have with that is that we are not who are capable of speaking truth to power are not speaking. We let them do this the sound bites for us, and we don't challenge them because we're afraid of being called woke.
And I'm gonna tell you, everybody here today, I see y'all coming in. I want every single one of you guys to hit the like button. And I want you to send this video to all of your conservative MAGA friends. I know y'all got them. I got them. I'm going to be sending them to them. Send it to them and ask them to explain where's that $96 billion that is earned on newcomers that comes to this country. I'm going to call them newcomers because I'm not going to demonize them. And it's interesting because, I have to talk about what's happening in Chicago and the raids and everything that's happening. And it just really heats me up because when I was living in Chicago, there were Eastern Europeans in Chicago, undocumented, all over. Everybody knows that Chicago has neighborhoods.
Yeah.
There was Italian immigrants. They did not. They didn't have their papers. There were people from Romania, people from Poland. There were people from, the lady that cleaned my house. I had a housekeeper from Poland.
And
I paid her in cash.
And they're still there today without papers.
So why are we demonizing individuals based on skin color is what's happening.
But the Supreme Court gave him carte blanche. The Supreme Court said racial profiling for the purposes of undocumented immigrants is appropriate. So what they do is they see you black and brown. Look at what they did in the city, in Chicago. They went to an apartment building and put children in zip ties. Children. And these are American citizens.
Anybody who sanctions putting citizens, American citizens, children in zip ties. I don't want to have anything to do. I'm sorry. I just cannot. I can't stomach it because where's the humanity? Where is the humanity in some of the people? How can you really have
the same thing that Nazi Germany did in 1939? They went to all the cities and rounded up all the Jews based upon their skin color, their hair, their hair color, because Jewish women because Germans are usually much more blonde than they have white hair. And of course, it was easy to pick up the Jews and send them to Auschwitz.
Yes.
And this is the same thing that's happening here. First Hitler demonized all ethnic groups, demonized gays, lesbians, and then even Germans who were disabled. and then he took the humanity from them. The people who are enforcing, the Trump's immigration laws are Proud Boys. They are
Yes.
skinheads. They are
Yes.
Nazis. They are the KKK, and they are getting a sign on bonus of 50,000 K and paid a salary of $100,000, and then their student loan, if they had any, are being forgiven them, so
Oh,
they can hunt black and brown people. And
I
he's
am
all
just,
born out of white fear and the white savior, our orange Jesus, Donald Trump.
let
So
me
they
tell
are
you,
going
I
to
do.
apartments with
Yes.
women who are scantily dressed and putting them in shackles. And these are American citizens who arrived here or whose ancestors arrived there by 1619 or earlier. So make
I
that
think
make sense.
that's criminal. Everybody, hello, how y'all doing? We talking about white supremacy. I do want to talk about white fear, Dr. Buster. That'll be my next question. But today we are talking about white supremacy. We're talking about the government shutdown. We are also talking about immigration. The truth about immigration. $96 billion. $96 billion every year from migrant workers and individuals who pay into a system that they'll never be able to draw down. These are facts. So if y'all come here to get fluff, go somewhere else. If you come here for some facts and some truth, that's what you came here for. And we're talking about Black America's reality check. We are going to have a healing conversation because that's what I'm all about. But so welcome everybody. And I see a comment here from It Don't Stop Ma'am. Man, I like It Don't Stop Man. Thank you for putting a comment. He makes this person, I don't know if it's a he or she, says, how come we can't get our reparations? You know why? Do you think that Donald Trump loves Black people in Chicago so much so that he can send troops to save Black people from killing each other on the streets? Do you think Donald Trump grew a heart and says, you know what? I think I'm going to help the Black community in Chicago since their mayor can't do it. I'm going to help them by sending troops and save Black America. Do you think ICE is somehow a form of reparations that Chicago's been looking for a long time? Do you think that? So I'm interested in that questions because if we are really interested in Black people, if Donald Trump is really interested in making sure Black people are good, why not give us reparations? Why carry out this agenda? Dr. Buster, how about you deal with that before I move on to white supremacy? Deal with this question.
The reason why Donald Trump scrubbed Medicare, the Obamacare, from his big, beautiful, ugly bill. It was because Obamacare was the signature program by Obama.
Yes.
It was called the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act, designed to protect 46 million Americans, mostly from the South.
Yes.
Who are either working poor or are not working. And they named it Obamacare to diss it. It didn't happen. You remember that when John McCain was alive, that was the time Donald Trump said he was going to, that he was going to abolish it and replace it. Donald Trump came from his deathbed, that famous thumbs down. That was what saved it now. Donald Trump has the memory of an elephant. And the kind of elephant he is, it's a really, really rogue elephant. So for him, whatever he can do to make sure that he's even, he hates Black people. His friend Kanye West said that in 2006 during Katrina. Yeah, 2006 when Katrina was drowning. And Donald Trump was overflying New Orleans. And Kanye West, his friend now, said Donald Trump hates Black people. So Today he's looking for Nobel Peace Prize. Yeah, he's funding a genocide. He's killing, he's dehumanizing Americans, and simultaneously he wants to be given Nobel Peace Prize because Obama got his own in 2008. So, as far as we are concerned, uh, Donald Trump, essentially speaking, it's very clear that he doesn't like black people.
There we go.
Yeah. So there is no pretending that it's not about black people. Anything that makes him uncomfortable, he called all those of us from Africa. He called us shit, whatever country.
That's
Yet
right.
the biggest scientists, the biggest technologists, the biggest computer people are coming from Nigeria, and Nigerians are graduating PhD at the rate of 4%, whereas Americans themselves are graduating at the rate of 1%. But that's where they came from, or something like that. So no, Donald Trump doesn't care. Actually, Donald Trump, because of his malignant narcissistic personality disorder, does not care for anyone.
Nobody.
If
Yes.
Melania Trump were his way of achieving anything, he will crush her in a heartbeat. A malignant narcissist does not have empathy.
Yes.
They are sociopath.
Mm-hmm.
They are sociopathic. He doesn't care. And if what he's chasing after has some hue that is not consistent with his orange color tied to it, he is coming after it. So he's having his own problem is that he is extremely jealous of Obama's success because during Obama period, tried everything they did. They couldn't rope him into anything. He was not into scandal. He was not into serial philandering. He was not into anything. And they did everything. They even went for his jacket, for his suit, which was tan.
Tan.
Yeah, which they blamed for being indecent. And Ronald Reagan wore tan suits. And so couldn't find anything. I remember that before Trump chose to run, when doing the presidential roasting, Obama roasted him. And then that was when the birth certificate thing started.
That's right. The
And
birth
then, of course,
certificate.
white supremacy was looking for a white champion. If you remember when Muhammad Ali was the boxer, they were looking for what they referred to as white hope, who will be a champion. They brought all sorts of people, and Muhammad Ali led them to rest. So what they are looking, and they found in their orange Jesus, was a white hope, somebody who will discipline those people whose color does not approximate his own. That's what they did.
Okay, let me say something here. Dr. Buster, you're getting to the insecurity of white men. Yeah. That is what you're getting into.
Yeah.
And they're insecure because they can't do what we can do. No. And they know that we are able to accomplish so much with absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
So how does that reflect on them? And it's a fear that's going on here, this fear that's connected with this insecurity that it seems as if MAGA has been so brilliantly able to tap into this whole sense of insecurity, this sense of fear that's happening. And I couldn't understand the whole birth certificate thing because there was newspaper articles that announced his birth.
Yeah.
And they still wouldn't get off
this conspiracy. That wasn't what they were after. What they were trying to do. They were trying to package Donald Trump.
Yes. And they gave him airtime. And it's so interesting because you're talking about speaking out. There's so many people speaking out. Yeah. But I think what's so frustrating is that it's not getting the traction. It's not getting the momentum. It just seems as if and I will take the more liberal individuals who want to see numbers like $96 billion. Hello, these are facts.
96.7.
This is 96
point seven.
0.7,
Yeah,
it just seems as if the efforts get lost.
yeah,
Talk to us about this white fear and this white supremacy that you see happening from a historical point. Tell
yeah.
us about what you think is happening.
Um, Remember that when the Jim Crow laws happened, uh, there was the great migration of blacks from the deep south to Chicago. Essentially, what they came to do was find work, paid work. And of course, we saw what happened in Chicago, including Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. coming over here. So, but what happened at that time was the blacks couldn't get a job, they couldn't find housing because of redlining.
Oh,
The redlining meant that banks that gave loans did not give to black people,
mm,
they gave to white people. And when they gave to white people, black people couldn't afford housing. And then eventually, through communal effort, blacks started to rent and reside in the big cities. There was a white flight.
yes.
That white flight is still existent in the city of Atlanta today. That's why no mayor for a long time has been white. The Hartsfield Jackson Airport was a project that was abandoned because white people refused to live in Atlanta so long as blacks were moving from the suburbs, from the cotton
Mm,
fields into the place. So they deserted Atlanta, believing that Atlanta was going to implode. Black people got their act together.
mm-hmm.
The city of Atlanta did not implode. And then came 1986 or thereabout when the Olympics happened and Atlanta hosted it. Infrastructural development exploded. Today, the Hartsfield Jackson Airport is the busiest airport in the world. And then that was when white people realized that things were not going to implode. And they started moving back to the city to fight for position. The airport has been named after a black man, but they wanted to buy in using the previous mayor. So that's why it's abbreviated Hartsfield Jackson.
Ah, interesting. So
Yeah.
they
So the white
started.
flight, the white flight,
Mm,
yeah, the white flight was essentially speaking to leave because the banks gave them money without collateral. And they
ah,
were able to come to the suburbs and establish and hoping that the city of Chicago, the inner cities, and the rest of them will implode. And they didn't implode. So to that extent, white fragility is responsible for white fragility is responsible for white fear and white flight. So when they believe that the major reason for this crackdown, and the Supreme Court was very, very clear in using color and race to target immigrants by eyes, and it's not the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court has been there for 20 years. What he started with was Citizens United, which he said that money had First Amendment rights. Before that time, campaign contributions were minimal. So with
mhm.
Citizens United in 2010, because they wanted to unseat Obama.
The Tea Party, yes.
Yeah, they wanted to unseat Obama. So Citizens United was approved by the Supreme Court, giving money First Amendment rights to speak. And for the first time in the history of US politics, campaign by both parties exceeded $2 billion each. $2 billion each.
Mm.
And you can see what's going on now, essentially speaking. Wherever there is a black man or Latino in charge of things, white people will want to upset everything because, as far as they're concerned, their fragility tells them that we, black people and browns, are not going to die, and they have no plan to commit harakiri.
So wait a minute. So what you're saying is that it's a jealousy thing.
It is.
It's like we put the country in the hands of Barack Obama
Yeah,
for 8 years,
yeah,
and it was success seen like no other.
yeah, yeah,
People were on health care who
yeah,
hadn't been on health care,
mm,
no pre-existing
yeah,
conditions.
yeah,
And that helped everybody.
yep,
And a lot of disproportionate number of Black people it helped.
yep.
What you're
And
saying
yeah,
is that
and he stopped the Great Recession.
it stopped the Great
Yeah,
Recession.
because he actually bailed out the Detroit Three, except for Ford, that was still had liquid asset.
Yes.
Chrysler and GMC were down and out. They flew to Washington to beg for money in private jets. Obama bailed them out to the tune of around 600 to 800 billion. And that was why the GMCs and the Chryslers of this world are still existent.
Interesting. And
And
not
then
only
he
that,
didn't stop there.
yes, go ahead.
He ended the concept of pre-existing, pre-existing condition for health care,
Yes.
whereby babies who were still in the fetus, I mean, fetuses that were still in the womb were deemed to have a pre-existing condition if they were born with a
Oof.
congenital defect. He ended that. Obama also ended the madness of credit card companies
Yes.
and pegged the amount of money that they will charge to that extent. And that was too much.
And not only that, he was really good with pulling everybody together because, by the way, I was talking to my dad at the time. Obama won his first presidency, and he was telling me that, yeah, the Obamacare, I'll just say the Affordable Care Act, he brought together all of the insurance companies and he said, what elements would you like to have in this bill?
Yeah,
That's how he got it passed.
yeah.
He talked to people. What elements would you like to have in this bill? And by the way, I got to meet the social worker who worked on Obamacare or Affordable Care. I got to meet him in Washington, D.C., and it was a social worker behind who lobbied for mental health services to be included up to the age of 24.
Mm-hmm.
So before, at 18, you were on your own.
Yeah.
And
Now,
now
it's,
it was
now
up to
it's 20,
24.
it's 26.
26 now. Thank you.
Yeah.
26. And I got to meet all the people who made sure that people could have mental health services
Yeah.
insured
Yeah.
under your parents' insurance, which
Yeah.
helped us
Yeah.
tremendously and helped a lot of young people who needed the
No,
services.
actually, they helped MAGA much more than
Yes.
they helped all the people up north. And what happened? Immediately they found out it was successful, they refused to expand. They refused Medicaid expansion to their own people. So if you go to the states in the South, their people do not have Medicaid, because their governors refuse to expand them. Because all they are doing is looking for a way to give a dog a bad name to drown it.
Okay.
So this whole thing is based upon white fragility, white fear, and white flight.
And when you are in fear, you can't think
You
logically.
can't rationalize.
You are going to do and behave in ways that is detrimental to you.
Yeah.
Because he has done a beautiful job of inciting what could be a riot in our own nation by doing this. And I think that is what white supremacy's done. He's brilliantly done that.
Yeah. Because what they are saying now is the government shut down because the Democrats wanted to give health care to undocumented immigrants. And then they keep saying it and they are doubling down. And then, of course, those who have no capacity to think are saying that is true. However, Section 15 that Speaker of the House Johnson mentioned is very clear. Undocumented immigrants do not have access to Social Security,
right,
Medicare, Medicaid, which is Obamacare, women, infant, and children from moms who have new babies, food stamps, supplemental security income, nothing. Yet, those of them who are employed and are being paid are paying into this whole system
Yes.
to the tune in 2024 of 96 billion point seven, $96.7 billion. That's what the so-called undocumented immigrants have contributed to the United States of America for
Wonderful.
just 1 year.
Okay, so we talked about white supremacy. Welcome, everybody. I see everybody coming in. I got Dr. Buster back, and you know he's going to bring it with his history, with his knowledge of policy, way more knowledgeable than I am with policy. We have just talked about white supremacy. I want to talk about the shutdown. I want to talk about the systems, how these systems are breaking down, the government shutdown. What does this mean for Black America and all other communities? How are we supposed to not lose hope? And what role do we play in this whole idea of the shutdown? What do you have to say about that? I'm all ears.
Now, in the case of the shutdown, like I mentioned, when uh, Trump had his first rodeo, he
Yes.
had the longest shutdown in US history, a history of 249 years. And he said, shut it down because he didn't know how it worked.
Mm.
And then when it shuts down, most of the government shuts down. The only things that don't shut down are social security checks, especially if it's electronic payment, you will still receive it. But if it's checks that are sent by mail, it's also affected. The national parks, there are several areas that are impacted. There was a woman in Washington who I think she works in the White House or it's in Barron. She lives paycheck to paycheck, and she was talking about how the impact on her, a Black woman, the impact on her. This person works in White House, somewhere there. And remember that people of color are already marginalized in all areas.
Yes.
And most Americans, even the so-called middle class, if that still exists, because it no longer exists, even the middle class themselves are living paycheck to paycheck. And for every single American, including me speaking here, the difference between us and the unhoused is one check that failed to arrive. One check that failed to arrive, because every single check we have is tied to our mortgage or rent, is tied to our car payments, is tied to our health care, is tied to our food, is tied to tuition, is tied to taxes. One check. And I want everybody listening to look at how much they earn and see what one check that failed to arrive means to them. Yes, they are going to be paid back when the shutdown is over. But suppose you had a mortgage to pay that you couldn't pay at that time. You're already on your way to foreclosure because they are not going to wait for you. The rents are already up, and poor people are already unable to afford to pay their rents or their mortgages. And the problem I have, Dr. Alicia, is that all of us here, including the audience, we have more in common with the homeless person than we have with the millionaire. The chances that we will move to where the millionaires and billionaires are is a wishful thinking. We are actually closer to those who are unhoused.
So what do we do with this economy?
Yeah, we are also closer to the undocumented immigrants.
Yes.
Because we depend on the food they produce. We depend on their labor. And of course, you know that they are not being paid fair wages. American citizens are not paid fair wages. Imagine what it is for an undocumented immigrant who is ab initio vulnerable. So this shutdown, my hope, because the Republicans are doubling down and the Democrats are doubling down, which for me makes all the sense.
Yes.
Because if they stop fighting, because all they're asking is put back the $1 trillion you took away.
That's right.
From the bill. So your own people people, the poorest Americans come from the South, and they are MAGA. So the Democrats are actually, because I don't like the Democrats for the main fact that they don't push hard enough.
Yes.
So if they do that, it means that premiums for everyone is going to go up, in some cases from 0 to 600 and something per month for some people. And that means that Obamacare, as we know it, is over. It's $1 trillion that Donald Trump and MAGA Republicans expunged from the big, ugly bill. So, if them, and of course, the Republicans, have always known that Democrats will back down. But this one is a matter of life and death.
It is.
Because look at it this way: our biggest ally, Israel, has free health care. And those are based upon the money we give to them. Yet Americans who have been here since 1619 cannot afford their health care. And the little they have, the Republicans want to take it. So, and Chuck Schumer, who is the Senate majority, remember that he has passed the House because they ran the big ugly bill roughshod through the lower house. For the Senate, that's where he needs to approve. That's where the problem is now.
Yes.
There are already two of them. There is this guy from Pennsylvania, John Fetterman. I'm hoping that the time will come when he's no longer a Democrat or somebody primaries him, because he has no idea what he's saying. I don't think he has even healed from his stroke. The man is confused beyond everything. So it takes about 5 more Democrats. And they are thinking that the five more Democrats will come on board. But the Democrats are not coming on board, and they shouldn't come on board, because it means that most people who have Obamacare will have no health care at all.
At all.
And it's not undocumented immigrants, as much as they want to have it. So the shutdown is going to affect every single one, whether we like it or not. But it's going to affect those who are already poor. And those are the browns and the blacks.
Yes, so it's a reality check.
Yeah. So why I'm saying this for the brown and black, it's choose your poison very carefully.
Yes.
If you don't choose your poison, you have taken the poison for your enemy. When you want to kill your enemy, you don't drink poison for them. You give it to them. So when you vote against your own interest, you have drunken poison for your enemy, and it's not going to kill your enemy, it's going to kill you.
What? I'm curious.
Yes.
As we kind of wrap up today, white supremacy, shutdowns, and Black America's reality check.
Yeah.
What do you think Black Americans now need to wake up to? What do you think we need to know that we haven't quite been able to wrap our brains around? What do we need to know?
First, the Constitution no longer matters, because the Supreme Court has made sure that the prerogative of the Constitution lies with the executive branch, especially since Donald Trump is the president. The 14th Amendment, including right to not being searched and seized, is gone. A part of the 14th Amendment includes birthright, which the Supreme Court is going to hear. So the problem I have is, if this is already in the Constitution, why is the Supreme Court going to hear it? It's a 14th Amendment. If they want to hear it, then actually they shouldn't, because it's already in the Constitution. It's like
already there.
No, it's already there.
Yeah.
It was tried. It was tried about, I think it was in 1900, it was tried. A Chinese, an American who is of Chinese descent traveled home, and on his way, they refused him entry on the grounds that he was foreign. But he was an American citizen, and they went to Supreme Court, and Supreme Court affirmed the 14th Amendment. So why are we going back to the Supreme Court for this today? It just doesn't make sense. Two, the guardrails are out. We now have white supremacists in charge of Congress, in charge of the presidency, in charge of the Supreme Court. So yeah, the Constitution is no longer respected. Some judges will make their pronouncements, and Donald Trump would just like, I don't care, and nothing happens.
So what do we do? Okay, everybody, two things we have got to learn. We need to learn that there is no Constitution. It is now in the hands of the executive branch, and that the 14th Amendment is gone, kaput.
Yeah.
Second thing, there's no guardrails anymore.
No.
It's been all co-opted by white supremacists.
Yeah.
They have made their way back in.
Yeah.
Now, so what do we need to do? Do we need to
All we need to do.
Do I need to get my dual citizenship to Ghana or Nigeria somewhere?
No, this is our country. This is our country. We stay and fight.
Stay and fight.
The midterm elections are coming November 3, 2026.
What's the date? November 3rd, 2026?
November 3rd, 2026 is the midterm elections. All the 435 seats in the House of Representatives are up for grabs. All.
In the House.
Yes.
In the
lower house.
Dr. Buster.
Yeah.
I'm going to drag my husband to the voting booth.
Yeah.
And I'm going to fill out the little bubble sheet for him. And I'm like, this is who you vote for.
Yeah. Yeah, because all members of the House of Representatives stand for election every 2 years. This is why they don't do anything. You elect them, they're already campaigning for the next election. Two, in the Senate is 6 years staggered. So while some people are running for elections, others are not due. But there will be at least 30 seats that are open.
36 seats in the Senate.
At least. What people need to go there is to make sure that they do not vote up and down any Republican. If they don't vote for them, the Democrats will now take over the two houses. And Donald Trump is immediately a lame duck president. That will restore some aspects of the Constitution. The Congress will now function. And if they function, they become guardrails against Trump's primitive instincts.
Okay, that's a long-term goal. Everybody, on November 3rd, get your phones out, set the date, November 3rd, 2026. Oh my God, that's like a year from now. I'm so nervous. Y'all, 435 seats in the House are up.
Yeah.
At least 36 seats in the Senate are up.
Yeah.
Woo!
Because there are about 100 members of the Senate.
100 members of the Senate.
Of the Senate. And the Senate is a DEI.
Okay.
Because California has about 53 congressional districts with about 40 million people. They are only entitled to 2 senators. Idaho, which is about 700 and something thousand people, also has 2 senators. So that's DEI.
Oh my goodness. I do not like that. Okay, so we do have that. So before November 3rd.
Before November, you need to engage. Of course, you have to look, you have to sow the seeds.
Okay. Sow the seeds.
On November 3, Speak.
Okay.
And I can assure you that speaking sometimes will hurt you.
Yes.
Do not threaten anybody. Because remember that both the FBI and all the law enforcement agencies have been infiltrated by Proud Boys, by neo-Nazis and skinheads. So don't play into their hands. So don't say anything stupid that is incriminatory, but speak.
Speak.
Yeah.
Do not be silent. Y'all, don't be silent.
And educate.
And educate.
And educate.
$96.7 billion a year.
Yeah. Speak and educate.
Oh my God, Dr. Buster. I gotta have you back on in November so that we can, maybe around November 3rd, I'll have you back on so we can be like, we got one more year.
One more year. So because the moment Donald Trump becomes a lame duck, all his executive orders don't mean anything because nobody's going to respect them. He's
Yeah.
able to run America roughshod because all the people who are in charge of the House of Representatives are beholden to him. They know the man is unhinged,
Yes.
but they are much more interested in keeping their positions and the appurtenances that accrue from them than they are about speaking truth to power. Because
And
if any one of them speaks, they'll be primaried. So they
okay.
don't want to speak. And most of them are millionaires.
Oh my goodness.
Isa, one of the is worth about 400 million. So what does he care about us, about you?
Exactly.
So if you're able to make Donald Trump a lame duck president, he's done. And
He's done.
if he becomes a lame duck, there are two things that will happen. He will serve out his term as ineffective in his silliness. Two, he commits egregious offenses every single day, and each one of them is impeachable. He
Yes.
can be impeached and convicted and removed.
Yes. Your mouth to God's ears. Everybody, let's give Dr. Buster a big round of applause. Yes, yes, Dr. Buster. Remember, part of it from now to November 3rd, 2026, y'all share this video. Hit the like button on this video. Get the algorithms cooking because we got to let everybody know what the real deal is. Everybody's thanking you in the chat. They're giving you a big round of applause, Dr. Buster. And you know I have to have you back on because I get to learn. I get to learn from the Dr. Buster, who is like the historian extraordinaire. And I do want to get into how some of this is just, it's like deja vu to me. we've been here before. We've seen this already. We are going to talk about some of those things. We always need to talk about what y'all can do because we're going to deconstruct. And as Dr. Buster likes to talk about, constructing and deconstruct, which is my favorite word, by the way. Thanks to you.
We interrogate, deconstruct, and reconstruct.
Yes, interrogate, deconstruct, and reconstruct. And we're going to be doing that because that's what smart Black people do.
Yeah.
Exactly. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And I got to tell you, this conversation moved you. Please make sure you subscribe. Listen, let me tell y'all, this conversation moved you. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, Coaching with Dr. Alicia. Go on and follow me on Instagram, Coaching with Dr. Alicia, and TikTok. I be putting stuff on TikTok, not the same on Instagram all the time, because TikTok is in its own little world. So y'all make sure y'all do that, and you can join my book. I got a Healing Haven book club that's free for everybody. Rereading books, Buster.
Yes, of course.
DrAliciaBookClub.com. It's totally free. Join that, and then you can come on, and we'll be talking about healing. We're talking about healthy relationships and stuff like that. So make sure you do that. And okay, remember, when systems fail, we can still choose to heal, and we can still choose to spread the word about what's really going on. So I want to say goodbye, everybody. Goodbye. Oh boy.